Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of the internet. Happy Tuesday to you. Welcome back to Grow. Kyle Evans coming at you from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Maps coach, bold coach, all the things, bleeding the KW red. Let's get into it today. Guys, this week we're talking about how do you sell like a scientist? It seems like a very counterintuitive approach, very odd thing that you don't hear often, and yet I think there is a golden thread there that we can see and tie it all together. Some might call me today Kyle Nye the Science Guy. Shout out Sarah for that moniker. I like it a lot. But let's talk about it, man. Yesterday, we spent some time on understanding why people actually buy. What is the point behind it? We really dove into understanding that people are looking to escape pain, chase pleasure, or seek some sort of internal identity alignment with what they're buying, maybe to feel something different. Today, we're going to think about going from why people buy to more of how they actually hear us. Like, what are they receiving in their brain? Because truthfully, in sales, our words, they're our tools. And if our language, I'm sure you can resonate with this, if our language doesn't land right, it's like shouting into a void. It's like yelling at a tornado. It's not going to be heard correctly. It might not even be heard at all. So I want to make this clear. This is a line that I've heard and lives rent free in my head. It's that the best salespeople, the best in the planet, in the field, wherever, aren't just charismatic. They don't just have the riz, as the kids call it these days. They're linguistical surgeons. Every word is chosen, not thrown. And I've seen this in my experience just talking to certain people who are great at sales, and just in normal conversation it just feels like they're very particular in practice with their language, even when they're being authentically themselves. The language, the lexicon, the syntax that they're used to throwing out is so practiced and polished that it's just a part of them at that point. I think there's a big gap for us to chase perfection in this, understanding that we'll never hit it, but knowing that somewhere along the way we'll catch greatness. Quote by Vince Lombardi. Where can we become better communicators? Because you're fooling yourself if you think this is not showing up in your bottom line. You're fooling yourself if you think it's not showing up in your interpersonal relationships. You're fooling yourself if you think it's not showing up at home. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's talk about how to make our words work today. Let's talk about selling like a scientist. Let's think about neuroscience when it comes to the language of sales. The brain processes survival before syntax. The brain processes survival before syntax. For instance, when a prospect, a customer, a client, another person you're talking to hears you speak, their brain immediately filters your words through three subconscious questions. Number one, is this safe? Is this safe? Am I in a safe place? Is there harm going to befall me? For instance, does it sound like pressure, trickery, salesy energy? Is it safe? The top one. The next one is this. Is it simple? Can I understand this quickly and without effort? It is important to understand that the brain burns the most calories in your body. And so, strictly at a cellular level, your body is looking to conserve energy, to be safe, to be healthy, to be homeostasis. And so, the brain is hearing things. And if it is too complicated to figure out, it might just not listen in an effort to save caloric energy. So the question first off is this safe? The next one, is this simple? Can I understand it quickly? And then the last one is it relevant? Does this apply to my life right now? Does it apply to my life right now in the present moment? Is this relevant to me? Is it safe? Is it simple? Is it relevant? If you fail one of these filters, you're going to trigger resistance. Jason Abrams, an executive with Keller Williams, says you've got to save people time. You've got to teach people something new, or you've got to save or make them money. I think that's very synonymous with the three things we just talked about. We've got to hit these filters or we're going to trigger resistance. Some of you are like, Kyle, I've had nothing but resistance. Cool. Hear ya. Maybe it's time that we start thinking before we speak, responding instead of reacting, practicing what to say and how to say it. Phil M. Jones says the worst time to think of something to say is in the moment. This is why most sales scripts feel off because they sound like sales scripts. If you're reading something, you're like, man, this sounds like a sales robot. It's probably because it sounds like a sales robot. How can we bring in neuroscience, psychology, in our own personality, serving the customer's need to raise our efficacy, to raise our efficiency? Here's the brain science behind it, man. Cognitive fluency. Cognitive fluency. The brain prefers language that is easy to understand and emotionally resonant. The brain prefers language that is easy to understand and emotionally resonant. Another one coined by Andrew Huberman is limbic friction. Limbic friction. When words feel complex or forced or unnatural, the brain resists, even if the offer is solid. Another idea is mirror neurons. People respond not just to words, but how those words are delivered. Tonality matters. It's not what you said, it's how you said it. That's right. Tonality matters. Ladies out there, one of the most dangerous four-letter words that has ever been spoken inside of my home is the word fine. Because fine has 10,000 different meanings, all determined by how the delivery of the word is. People respond not just to words, but how they are delivered. So when we're thinking about this, man, how do we go to powerful language as opposed to poison language? An idea, a thought that I want you to think about as we dive into this really quick on a Tuesday morning is your words either open doors or it closes them. Are you opening doors or are you closing them with your words, with your tonality, with your communication? Tactically speaking, what are some things that you can start to employ or adopt or put into your repertoire? One of my favorite ones that I think everyone should adopt, especially in sales or business, is what happens next is blank. What happens next is blank. Every conversation should end with this is what happens next. Why? Because it reduces uncertainty. It transfers confidence into the person. When they understand something, their certainty rises, their confidence rises, their comfort rises, their anxiety drops. Hey, what happens next is I'll draft the offer, review it with you line by line, and we'll submit it before 3 p.m. Lowering anxiety, lowering resistance. Another great line, and you've heard me say this one too before, is hey, most people in your situation do blank. Most people in your situation are blank. It creates safety with social proof. For instance, most buyers at this price point, they tend to move quickly on a home like this. Most buyers in this price point, in this market, they tend to move quickly on a home like this. There's social proof there. Another great one I love is you're not alone in that. You're not alone in that. It dismantles shame and hesitation. If I have learned one thing about the human race is that we love shame. We don't love it, but for some reason we're constantly doing it to ourselves. You're not alone in that. It lets them know, well, frankly, that they're not alone in that. It dismantles hesitation. It makes them feel accepted. Hey, you're not alone in wanting to wait for the right fit for you and your family. Our goal, my process for you is to be selective and strategic. You're not alone in wanting to wait for the right fit for you and your family. Our goal together is to be selective and strategic. Number 4, a great one. Again, guys, this is all about seeking clarity. How does that feel to you? How does that feel to you? It invites emotional clarity, not just agreement. I want to know what's going down underneath. This is a great post pitch or post explanation line. Hey, we've hit them with logic. We understand the chessboard. We understand the moves. What's the emotional resonance underneath? How does that feel to you? The final one, selling like a scientist, putting this in your playbook. Let's make this make sense for you. Let's make this make sense for you. It disarms pushy energy. It signals what it should be signaling all along is customization in partnership. Our goal is to partner with our clients and our customers to get what they desire. Let's make this make sense for you. The root word of customer is custom. We have to go and customize things for every single person in their situation. Now, we just talked about great things to say. I want to talk about the other side. I want to flip gears and go the other way. Let's talk about language to retire immediately. Put it out to pasture. Bury it 6 feet under. Let it flow and let it go. Trust me. Trust me. If you have to say it, they probably don't. If you have to say it, they probably don't. Said another way, a guy out in Midland, Texas, Cameron, would say, if you have to sell me on it, probably sucks. Guys, trust me. If you have to say that, they probably don't. One that drives me bonkers, and it drives me bonkers because I've been working on eliminating it from my language for over a year now, and it still pops up occasionally, is when you lead off a sentence with the word honestly. Honestly, to be honest, I think, blah. Honestly, this is the case. It subconsciously implies that you weren't being honest all along, that everything you said previous to the word honestly means, wait, so were you lying before this? Stop it. Stop saying honestly. And I'm talking to myself, not to you. Stop. Subconsciously, it applies distrust. Another thing to retire immediately. Ugh, so salesy. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Better act fast. Hey, Sally. Hey, Frank. Once in a lifetime opportunity right now. Never going to come around again. It screams desperation. It yells from the bottom of its lungs manipulation. And to be honest, see, there it is. To be honest, and it's rarely true. It's rarely true. Stop it. One that I'm also continuing to work on, right? Let's just talk about my failures and struggles that I'm working with is instead of saying no problem, you should say my pleasure. I've done a really good job of instituting my pleasure into my framework. And sometimes I'll say no problem. It's a small shift, but it's one that affirms service. It's one that says, hey, I enjoy it. It's the reason, I mean, you guys know that Chick-fil-A says it. They're service heavy. No problem. Retired immediately. It's my pleasure moving forward. Trust that you guys are picking up what I'm putting down today and adding some of these small tweaks to move from a real estate agent or a sales agent or in sales general to a professional. These are the things that can take you from good to great. I want you to understand that words can slide past logic and land directly in emotion. You can guide buyers through your phrasing without pressure. I'm not a pressure guy. I don't want to pressure people into stuff. I want to do stuff that they think is best for them. I know a lot of people resonate with that. Here's some suggestions that you could bake into your statements that can help bypass resistance. If you're in real estate, it may sound something like this. Hey, listen, as you review the home, you'll start to picture where your furniture goes. As you review the home, you'll start to picture where your furniture goes. You're giving them an embedded command of, hey, start to plan out where you're going to put your stuff. I want you to future pace living in what this might feel like. Another one is, hey, when you feel ready to move forward, I'll be here to help. I'll be here to help. When you feel ready to move forward, I'll be here to help. A statement of fact thrown in there. Another one is, hey, you'll notice how the layout naturally opens into the kitchen. Most buyers love that flow. Most buyers love that flow. You're not telling them what to do. You're painting a picture of what most people do or what they are likely to do. We're just showing the way. But we got to make sure that we're framing and anchoring correctly. Because people, they respond based on context, not just content. Context, not just content. For example, this is a $700,000 home. Content. Context is, hey, most homes in this area are $750,000 or even higher, but this one is at $700,000. Same statement told drastically different, wildly different feelings. It's the same with options. Hey, would you like to meet Tuesday or Thursday? It frames the assumption that they are meeting with you, right? Or, hey, would you like to start with a pre-approval or go see homes first? It reframes the assumption to they're ready to act. Words don't just communicate, they can calibrate behavior. Words memorized don't close. Meaningful words do. One of the traps that I see is salespeople are always like, what's the script? What's the phrasing? But science-driven sales isn't copy and paste. It's test, adjust, repeat. Test, adjust, repeat. What worked? What didn't? What can I make 1% better? How can I bring my own personality into that? What context did I miss there? Did I speed past connecting? Do I know their motivation and their timeline and how it feels for them? Test, adjust, repeat. Not just copy and paste, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, custom, the root word of customer. Here's what to think about instead of just a copy and paste ideal is modular phrases that you believe in. Don't just use lines because they sound good. I mean, that's cool. But don't just use lines because they sound good. Use the ones that feel real and are authentic in the conversation. One of the biggest things that I can impress upon you is be authentically you. Be you. Don't just use lines because they sound good. What feels real? What is authentic to you in the conversation and the context that you're talking about? Another idea is build your own phrase bank. Create your list of catchphrases that constantly earn yeses, that clarify confusion, that soothe objections, that make people feel comfortable and confident in the service that you provide. Build your own phrase bank. The next one, test in live conversations. Tweak tonality, tweak your pacing, tweak the order of your phrases in real time. Sales isn't static, it's a lab. You are the scientist today. What you say and how you make them feel is going to be what they remember. So I want you to understand that there's a scientific framework to this. There's levels to this tonality thing. I want you to make sure that your tone matches your message. Your tone matches your message. For instance, if I'm giving instructions, the ideal tone for this is calm, firmed, paced. Calm, firm, paced. If I'm giving instructions, calm, pace it, be firm, straightforward. If I'm looking to deliver a message of empathy or emotion, guys, you have to increase your warmth. You have to slow down. Soft tones usually work for this. Can you imagine? Like, you're never sitting there like, man, I feel super connected emotionally and empathetic with this person when they're like quickly yelling at you. That's usually the opposite of the case. If you're looking to deliver empathy and emotion, it needs to be warm. Slow and soft is preferred. If we're looking to talk about urgency or the messages around urgency, clipped, focused, upward inflection, bringing the energy, bringing the emotion to the urgent. If we're talking about vision or future casting for them, confidence, lifted, energizing, these are how we're bringing the right tone, the right feeling, the right vibe to the words that we're saying. Tonality is the emotional envelope that your words arrive in. The melody can be inspirational. You need to master the delivery as a whole and not just the line. My work for you today, my homework, my challenge, since we're working on moving to mastery in all things, take 3 phrases that you often use, and I want you to run them through this filter. Does this phrase calm the brain? Does this phrase build clarity? Does this phrase invite trust? Does this phrase calm the brain? Does this phrase build clarity? Does this phrase invite trust? And then think about some of these science-backed alternatives and try it live. Track the response. Tomorrow, guys, we're going to dive into pattern recognition and sales triggers, and we'll show you how to see what other people miss, whether it's body language, tonal shifts, micro buying signals, and conversational cues. So, if you want to stop chasing, start closing like a scientist, you'll want to hear that one. And it's my pleasure to hang out with you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of the internet, happy Tuesday to you. Remember, sales isn't necessarily about what you say. It's about what they hear. The brain doesn't trust pressure. It trusts clarity. And finally, you're not a parrot. You're not a parrot. Polly does not want a cracker. You're not a parrot. You're a persuasion technician. You are a decision architect. Love you, mean it. Thanks for being here today. I'll see you bright and early on Wednesday.